Okay. So summary. Okay, so we don't have that many more well-known comedy duos at this point. So rather than giving the background of it, you might want to say something like they stood out from the comedians of the time who tended to work together, tended to be solo comedians, okay? And here I would mention Buster Keaton, Charlie Chaplin, you're right, and Harold Lloyd, okay? Look up Harold Lloyd, okay? I wouldn't include the Marx Brothers here. These stars, these male stars, dominated comedy films at this time. There were very few female comedians, such as Beatrice Lillie. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, all of that. Now, if you want to fancy this up, okay, you could say, however, in one scene in Way Out West, however, in many of their films, the pair play women. Okay. For example, in Way Out West, in the Blue Ridge Hills of, what's it called? The Blue Ridge Hills of Virginia. Okay. In the Blue Ridge Hills of Virginia, when Stan is hit on the head, he begins to sing in a woman's voice. Okay. So a little bit about the tension. And what I would say is, rather than having this still, I would have the still of him looking like that and say, play that. So in your thing, you say, I'm going to play that clip. Yeah. It's just Blue Ridge Mountains, isn't it? To that actual clip.
Should we put the link in it for it?
No, you don't need the link. Oh, you put the link in your yeah. Yeah, so I would put a still here at the end. Moonshine, our hearts entwined, where she carved her name and I carved. Because he does a good face. Like the mountains, I'm blue, like the pine. I am lonesome for you. Okay, so something like that, yeah. So then it's showing actually at times they needed, they pushed into kind of female comedian territory by singing in the voice of women or dressing up as women.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's what we get. You know, they were so successful because they weren't just men. They were, I mean, albeit in a kind of sexist way, they did play women as well. And that's what you should mention, that book. Do you remember the book I showed you?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should put the title of that book when you're here. This bit that we're talking about, you should put the still frame and say, I'm going to play you this scene now. Say something along the lines of, they were pushing the boundaries of representing women, and this is explored in the book by blah blah blah. What's it called? I can't remember. And make that an item 5, whatever it might be. Okay. This doesn't look good. You just put an eat in.
No, it's the heat.
Okay. Now you said Paul Feig already, so you can take that out. But you do need italics here.
I feel like once I start writing, I just don't I need
Okay.
to, but I will.
It's not starring, so you say an all-female comedy duo played by Melissa McCarthy and Sandra Bullock. Yeah, that's fine, that quotation. The movie represents a massive shift from the double acts of Laurel and Hardy and other film double acts such as Abbott and Costello. Have you heard of them?
No.
Okay, so they were later. They were after Laurel and Hardy. They were in the kind of 50s, but put them in there.
Okay.
Rather than saying, just say earlier, rather than saying the 1900s. Sorry, I'm just doing this so I can see it clearly.
Yeah.
We've already said features. Okay, so at the centre of the heat is a female comedy duo representing the same role as a male comedy duo. That's fine. Yeah, good. So, can we think more about... So let's say, rather than going back to the 1900s, let's talk about more recent comedy films. So let's say the role of female comedians in the early 21st century featured characters who were often ladylike and sophisticated. That's all fine. Now let's give some examples. What happened there? What have I done? Okay, so let's put Mean Girls in there. The kind of teen, so such as Mean Girls, and then in brackets, Tina Fey, comma, whatever the year it was made, Legally Blonde, comma, and Miss Congeniality.
Yeah.
Okay, because those are those kind of films. You know, they're comics, they're in the centre of it, but they're blonde and beautiful. And, yeah. Okay. So, so in the heat, that's italics, capital letters, no inverted commas.